Hi, everybody. I'm Pratibha Agarwal. I'm an immigration attorney. I help clients all throughout the United States in their immigration matters. Our firm is located right outside of Washington, D.C. in Arlington, Virginia, but our clients are all throughout the United States. Immigration is considered a federal practice, and that means that as long as you're licensed in one state, licensed and in good standing in one state, you can represent clients anywhere in the US. So that's a really great option for you if you have immigration questions. You can choose an attorney no matter where they are located, an attorney that is the right fit for you. So the way our firm handles clients that are not in our area, so again, if you're just joining, I'm an immigration attorney. My office is located right outside of Washington, D.C. in Arlington, Virginia, but our clients are literally all throughout the United States. And the way our firm handles these clients, or the way we complete the work, is we have an online portal where you can upload your documents. We conduct our meetings through Zoom, just like this. So you'd be talking to me kind of just like this. Or by phone. So some clients prefer by phone, and that's okay too. It's just totally based on your preference, and everything is accessible to you on our case management system. So that's where you would put your documents, or you could mail them to us and we would upload them on there. We share everything through there. All our invoicing is through there. So it's a really great option if you are looking for an attorney and you think if you think we might be the right fit, feel free to reach out to us. We handle all sorts of immigration cases. So we only do immigration. We don't do anything other than immigration, but we do everything under immigration. So we do employment-based cases where employers are trying to sponsor individuals for green cards or temporary visas like H-1Bs. And then we also help with family-based immigration and humanitarian cases as well. So if you or someone you know could use some immigration assistance or to talk to a lawyer, call our office and we would love to schedule a consultation for you or somebody you know if we can help you. My name again is Pratibha Agarwal. I'm sorry, I'm looking a little I have a new setup here today. If you've joined me before, I'm trying to see how that works out. So I hope it works out well. Thank you for joining me. Hi, Sunny. Hi, Obi. Let's see. Hi, Anjana. Hi, Dilpreet. Hi, Jay Paul. Hi, Sunny. Hi. Sunny says, can you give me information about my work permit? Information about work permit. Great, Sunny. Yes, absolutely. So a work permit. So I have a Sunny on Facebook and I have a Sunny on TikTok right now. So I think that's ironic. But anyway, yes, we can definitely talk about work permit. So work permit is something a lot of people think, can I apply for a work permit? All I want is a work permit. So you can get a work permit. You might be able to get a work permit even if you enter the United States illegally, okay? But a work permit is not something you can just apply for on your own. You get a work permit based on something else. So usually based on some kind of pending application or some other kind of status. So for example, people who are on a student visa, if they've graduated from a US university, they can apply for a work permit, apply for and receive a work permit, and they'll have a work permit for 1 year. That whole thing is called OPT, if you're familiar with it. And if you graduate from a US university with a US degree, you'll have 1 year after you graduate, usually in most cases, to work, and you'd have OPT. So that's one way. Another way, for example, we help a lot of clients in this situation. So they could have entered illegally and they're married to either a US citizen or a green card holder. Once we apply for their green card, we can also apply for a work permit. So once we apply for that, we can get them a work permit in 6 to 8 months. So once we file the green card application, this work permit is based on the pending green card application. It's because you filed for a green card is why they're allowing you to work. So they process the work permit much sooner than they process the green card. So the green card could take 2 to 2.5 years. but the work permit is you're gonna have it usually within 6 months. So give us a call if we can help you, especially if you're married to a U.S. citizen or a green card holder. Even if you entered illegally, we may be able to help you apply for and receive that green card, and in that process also get work permit. And then this is another bonus. You would be able to also receive authorization to travel outside the United States. So that would come at the same time as your work permit. So that's just something something to keep in mind. That's something you would be eligible for. Okay. Sunny on Facebook here is saying, after USCIS withdraws your application and you have another application pending, do they then send them a file? So you're wondering, Sunny, I'm thinking your question is, does your withdrawn application impact your current application? So, in a way, so they have it on file, right? So they do have it on file. I don't know necessarily that they review your withdrawn application when you file a new one, but if you have some huge discrepancies, let's say if you have, you entered the US in 1 year on one application and you send in another one where you had a different date, for example, and that's conflicting, that may impact your application, right? So Sunny is saying, sorry. After USCIS withdraws your application and you have another application pending, do they send them a file directly to them, or other unit have to order? I'm not sure. I'm sure exactly what you mean. I mean, if you withdrew an application, it's all within the USCIS system, right? So they can essentially view anything that you've submitted. So what they look at could be part of a background check, but anything you've submitted, you've made some kind of statement to USCIS. You can withdraw it, which is good in some instances where you don't have a decision against you in a case, which could be harder, right? But if you do have inconsistencies in your application, it may come up. It may come up if you have a green card interview and you have two different, pieces of facts. Let's say you were married to one person and then you're married to another person, and you didn't include all of this information in your first application. So any inconsistencies, you should be ready to explain. Any inconsistencies in your green card application, you should be ready to explain. So if we can help you, call us. We're at 703-348-1663. We can help you schedule a consultation. All right. So Sunny, I think I answered your question. Would I apply in ASAP membership? I don't understand your question, Sunny. I'm sorry. Let's see. Hi, Anjana. Let's see. Hi, Mushkan. Hi, Savannah. Hi, Prachi. Hi, Rashma. Hi, Neetu. Let's see. All right. Miss, my I-360, this is Kanu on TikTok. She says, Miss, my I-360 is approved and they sent me a notice of close the asylum. Right. So so once your I-360 is approved, you no longer, I don't know that you need to have a pending asylum application, so you can close your asylum case. So once you get an I-360 approved, that means you can, if you have a VAWA case, right? So an I-360 is used for many different things. If you use the I-360 and you applied for a VAWA, which is a Violence Against Women Act, and for those that are unfamiliar, this is for people that are married to a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, or they have a child who is 21 or over and a U.S. citizen, and they filed for their green card, their work permit, and probably their travel authorization also. So I-360 is one of the applications in that whole bundle that I just talked about. Okay, so if that's what you filed, Kanu, and you have an I-360 that was approved, that means that you can live permanently in the U.S. That means you can live permanently in the U.S. So any removal actions against you are deferred. So you will not be removed from the U.S. at that point, unless, obviously there's some like grotesque crime or something. But most of the time, it means that you can live permanently in the U.S. And you can get a work permit based on this forever. So in terms of asylum, if you have an I-360 approved, you won't need your asylum case. So I think, that's fine that your asylum case is closed. It shouldn't hurt you. So Sunny says, would I apply an ASAP membership? So Sunny, I'm not sure your question, but if you want to explain, I will try to take a look at it and see. All right. I think I just answered. Okay. Mushkan is saying, do you know anything about the citizenship exam? Yes, I do know a lot of things about the citizenship exam. So, so to apply for your citizenship, so it's your N400, your naturalization application, and you submit that along with a whole bunch of other documents that they want from you, like your biographic information, your green card, and then eventually you get your fingerprints taken, and then your citizenship interview is scheduled. So your citizenship interview has a few parts. So it has an English. So essentially one of the parts is you have to be able to speak English, right? Most of the time, unless you're of a certain age and you've been in the US for a certain amount of time. Some people can be exempt from the citizenship, the actual civics exam, or you might be able to have an interpreter at the civics exam. But most people that are, middle-aged or a little bit older or younger, when they're going for citizenship, there are several parts that you have to go through. So one of them is whether you speak English properly. And the officer is assessing that from the very beginning of the time that you walk into this interview. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, the citizenship interview is conducted in an office. It's like a small office, and it'll be you and the officer, the USCIS officer that's doing the exam. So it's just the two of you. And right now with COVID, there's a lot of shields, plexiglass and shields to keep everybody protected. So essentially they're asking you a few things. So one thing is they start asking you biographic questions about your N400 application. So the best thing to do is be familiar with your N400 application, right? So you don't want to go in there and not know the facts, not remember, your wife's birthday or things that are in there, right? You can take a copy with you, and of course many of us go in and we get nervous, so it's okay to say, I'm sorry, the date's escaping me. Is it okay if I refer to my application? I think that's totally fine, but you should be familiar with it and at least know the things that most people would know offhand, right? Like your address. So you would want to know that, right? So some people get nervous and it's okay. And most of the USCIS officers are understanding, but it's a good idea to just look at what you submitted and be familiar with the contents of it. When they ask you these questions, they're assessing your English as well. They start assessing your English. But then there's also an English language exam. So they ask you to read a sentence that's written down. They ask you to write a sentence that they speak out loud to you. And then you have the civics exam. So the civics exam recently changed. So it used to be you had to get, I can't remember exactly. There was out of 100 questions, you were given 10 questions and you had to get 7 correct. So now out of 100 and I think it's 100 and I could be wrong here. I can't remember. I think it might be 150 questions. There's more questions that they can select from. They give you a pool of 20 questions and you have to get 14 correct. So essentially it's kind of the same proportions, but there are just a larger number of questions. So that's what's happening now. If you filed your application before, I think December of this year, you still get the old exam. So you still get the old exam if you filed before last year of 2020. But if we can help with your citizenship application, we would love to help you. We're at 703-348-1663. I hope that was helpful, Mushkin. Let's see. Hi, Anish Shankal. Hi. Our Bular says, I went for fingerprinting for citizenship on February 14th, 2020, and the online account says view snapshot download. Okay. So if you went in February, I would think your interview would be scheduled sometime soon. Okay. Um, Savannah is saying, what about the change of address during the green card process? Is it going to delay my green card? It shouldn't. It shouldn't. Just make sure everybody, if you're not a citizen, you are required to keep USCIS updated of your address. So make sure that you go in and you change your address within 10 days of you moving. If you forgot, do it right away. You are required to make sure that you report your address, your change of address with USCIS within 10 days. So you can do that online, or you can call their customer service number and change your address. Okay. Let's see. Arbular says it's something is not downloading a document for many months. Is it concerning? Their site is a little off, so I don't really give it much thought, to be honest. You can always call the customer service number and see what they say. Hi, Shelly. Hi, Karen. Hi, Eleanor. Okay, Owen USA says, hi, how are you? I'm doing well, thank you. Heimani says, thank you, you're welcome. And O1 USA says, I applied for my green card in 2015, but I still didn't get it. So there may be an issue, right? So you should check your case status online, because if you applied in 2015, it depends on what grounds you applied, like on what basis, and there has to be a green card available for you at the time that you apply. So that's something that you should keep in mind. I don't know what grounds you applied on, but sometimes there is a wait time for a green card to become available for you. So you're saying an adoption case. Okay, great, but I still don't know the details of, what the citizenship status is. So for you, I'm going to say you should probably schedule a consultation to kind of go through your case. We're at 703-348-1663. But I'm going to tell you, the first thing I would do is check the processing times online. Okay, you said adoption under 21 in New York. Okay. You check the processing times online. And then if you're out of the range for the processing times, then you should call the customer service. And there's also a way you can submit an inquiry online if you are outside of normal processing times, to get a response. And then what I tell everybody is you really have to be very, very diligent about keeping track of all of the different efforts that you took to move your case along, like all of the times you inquired, what you did to inquire, like if you called the customer service number, what happened, what was the outcome. If you weren't able to get through to a representative, that's something you should log as well. And then if you want, you have the right to sue the government to make a decision on your case. And I do think that this is a really good option for those that are waiting so long for your green card or so long for your immigration benefit. That is an option. So it sounds very scary. I know it sounds scary, but it's not scary. Many people do it. Essentially, it is requiring the government to make a decision on your case. So all government agencies like Department of Homeland Security that's processing your green card has the authority, or is required to make decisions in a reasonable time frame. Right? So if you're way outside of normal case processing times, or if it's been 4 years, right? If you've been 5 years, now you're going on 6 years. If you said you applied in 2015, you're going on 6 years now. That is not reasonable time frame to receive a green card. So, make sure that you've done everything you can to move the case along. Be diligent, keep records of it. But essentially, you can file for a writ of mandamus in federal court, which requires the agency to make a decision. So there's different steps in this process, and I'm happy to talk you through it. But essentially, we don't know what decision the agency is going to make, right? But if you qualify, they have to approve it. So it's something to think about for those of you that have been waiting for a really long time for the government to make a decision on your case. It's just something to keep in mind. And if we can help you, call our office. We're at 703-348-1663. Yeah, so Owen is saying I called USCIS and they said your case is outside of normal processing times. Okay. You're saying you have an I-360 and an I-485 both pending. Yeah. So for us, that is taking about 2 to 2.5 years. So if you're going on 6 years, that is a very long time. So there's some kind of thing holding that up. So you definitely want to look into that. Okay. Hi, Sunny. All right, friends, it's late my time, and I am going to head out. But if we can help you with your immigration case, I would love to help you. Call our office. We're at 703-348-1663. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you soon. Bye, everyone.